Dr. Nasser Saidi is the chief economist of DIFC. He's also former Minister of Economy and Trade for Industry in Lebanon. Dr. Nasser is a strong advocate for a single currency for the GCC and a believer in improving transparency and disclosure in the United Arab Emirates. Well, in the light of the credit crunch, he says there has never been a better time to push for these two missions. Dr. Saidi is on the line now from the Madinat Jumeirah here in Dubai. Welcome back to Inside Business, Dr. Nasser. And what does the global crisis mean at the moment for GCC investors, do you think?
Well, 2008 came as a big shock to GCC investors and the GCC countries in general. We've had what we call contagion effects. We say contagion effects because the macroeconomic fundamentals, that is the underlying factors, underlying growth, the demographics, the investment in infrastructure, large current account surpluses, large budget surpluses, those macroeconomic fundamentals were very strong and very positive for the GCC countries. So this came as a shock. However, what I'd like to point to is the fact that on the policy side, we've had some good, strong responses. Monetary policy has eased. We've seen lower interest rates. We've seen central banks injecting liquidity into the system by making facilities available to banks. We've seen governments also intervene by injecting directly liquidity into the banking system. So that has been positive.
Now, there's been a lot of talk about government intervention. Are these new measures working?
Well, we're living now in a situation whereby global economic forces and the headwinds are against us, and therefore we need to take policy action. Part of that policy action is for governments to be more active than they have been in the past. Now, GCC governments traditionally have invested in infrastructure, public utilities, provided most of the services. So that is continuing, and this is not new policy. However, this is a time at which the governments of the GCC have got to come to the aid of the private sector, maybe by getting more involved in public-private partnerships and initiatives, getting more involvement by the private sector in a number of areas. So these are positive elements because they will help us sustain economic growth and avoid the contagion effects.
The UAE has among the wealthiest sovereign wealth funds in the world. Where are these being invested?
Well, the GCC countries, of course, have been very important capital exporters. So over the past 3 years, annually, GCC has been exporting something like $300 billion per year, which have been mainly invested outside the region. Now the sovereign wealth funds or future wealth funds are repositioning their capital and investing more of those funds back into the region. This is a very welcome development because it will also mean that we can grow our capital markets, we can grow our banking system, and that is an important structural change because this is a time at which, if there's one lesson we can learn from 2008 and the financial crisis, is that we should grow our own local banks and financial systems. This is the time at which we should grow our capital markets. This is the time at which we should go towards greater economic and financial integration. This is the time at which we should go towards monetary union and towards the creation of a Gulf common currency.
And Dubai's economy is largely property-driven. Can we expect a complete real estate crash, do you think?
Well, we've already seen some adjustment of property prices and real estate prices. We've seen them go back to early 2008 prices. I think this is rational. We've also seen some softness in terms of rentals. This is part of the adjustment process, and should be welcome because this will mean that demand will come back again.
OK, well, we've run out of time for now, but Dr. Nasser Saidi, once again, many thanks for coming on Inside Business today. Well, that's it for this edition of the programme. You can contact us by writing to ib@city7tv.com. For now, from all of us on the team, goodbye, and we'll see you again soon.